Welcome, everyone, to the Accounting Career Panel. My name is Rhonda. I'm an accounting professor at Mount St. Vincent, and I will be moderating the panel today. I have four distinguished guests with me today. I have Kyle. They'll do their own full introductions in a moment. Rebecca, Sarthak, and Sarah. So I'm going to first start. I'll start at the end there with Sarah. I'm going to start with asking each panelist to briefly introduce themselves and describe the organization that they work with and what their current position is.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and right now I work for a company called Dash Social. They're based out of Halifax, and it's a software company that's a social media management company. So brands basically use our software to track data analytics on how their content's performing. They can connect with influencers, track how their campaigns are performing, schedule posts on different social media platforms, things like that. We have lots of big brands that use it, which is really cool, like Disney Plus, Hulu, Home Depot, Nespresso, brands that you guys would all know and hear about. And so yeah, it's really exciting that we're here in Halifax, and all of the majority of our employees are also based here. And I am in the back end, so I'm not super involved with the platform, but I do a lot of the day-to-day accounting processes. My role is senior accountant, so my main task is every month closing the monthly financial results, seeing how the company was performing, like our revenue, expenses, tracking that compared to our budget, and yeah, the pretty regular stuff that you would learn in your accounting courses is what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarthak. I'm a specialty tax accountant at M&P. It's an accounting firm, and my work spans helping clients with all of their tax compliance with the CRA, let it be their personal T1 returns, corporate T2 returns, and all other kind of special elections that need to do for their corporate responsibilities. We also help clients with any response need to send to the CRA and bunch of pretty much anything that they need for their accounting needs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Foster. I'm a senior manager in the audit practice in KPMG in Halifax. KPMG is one of the big four accounting firms. We are internationally based. I've been with the firm since 2017. I would have started right out of university in the fall. I got my CPA I wrote the CPA in 2019. I would have became a CPA in 2020. KPMG would be a large accounting firm that offers audit, tax, and advisory services. I specifically, as I mentioned, work in the audit practice. I work primarily on larger private enterprise clients based in the Atlantic Canadian provinces. Other than that, I think that's it. I'll pass it to Kyle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle Niekamp. I went to the University of Saskatchewan and then moved to Halifax, where I've spent my career here. I started with Ernst & Young, which is another one of the big four accounting firms. And then after that, I moved into industry, started working for a gold mining company where I spent about 5 years. And then I spent some time in radio broadcasting, and now my current role is with Steele Auto Group. So Steele Auto Group is one of Canada's largest and most diversified auto groups. We have 55 new car dealerships, a heavy truck division, some collision centers, and our locations are primarily in Atlantic, Canada, but also 8 in Texas, and our head office is here in Dartmouth. So I'm the CFO there, responsible for all financial aspects of the business, including financial reporting, treasury, tax, mergers and acquisitions. I also oversee legal, as well as capital projects and building maintenance and all that type of thing. So it's a large company. We've got about 2,700 employees, and yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to group a couple of questions together now, and I'm going to start with Sarthak. So what would be a typical career path that one of our graduates could follow in your organization, and what particular skills, attributes, or training kind of make them stand out from the rest?
So about me, I just graduated from the Mount Spring this year, so I'm fairly new. So for me, First thing, the career path is subjective to everyone. Something that you like, you should be pursuing that. But a standard career path follows doing the CPA program. If you're working as an accountant at an accounting firm, get the letters with a public accounting license, and afterwards you should specialize in something that you feel comfortable in, be it tax, assurance, or like excise tax, something like that. After that, you can just work your way up the ladder and pretty much do whatever you want. As for the skills, well, I would say attention to detail and active communication is the greatest skills that would make you stand out from the crowd. Be always open to feedback, and if you do that, sky is the limit.
Mine's going to sound fairly similar to his, but at KPMG, similar, you would, if you're kind of going the audit or tax route, you would want to be pursuing your CPA designation. We do have a wide variety of advisory roles as well that do not necessarily require your CPA. I would have done the CPA route in audit. It's kind of a requirement to work in, like I said, audit and in our audit and tax groups. From there, you would start as like a junior staff. You would make your way up. You do 2 years at the junior staff level. You move up to the senior staff level. You do that for about 3 years, and then you're kind of at the manager level by that point. After manager, again, few years, senior manager level, and then after that, it's director or partner. And then the other part of the question, what are the skills that kind of make people stand out? So again, I would echo the communication skills are a very big factor as well. We like to really see people who are just eager to learn and want to take initiative. Asking lots of questions is by far and away okay. I would have done that. I would have asked hundreds of questions in my time to get where I am today. So just being open and present is very valuable.
All right, we'd have a number of different career paths that somebody could take at Steele Auto Group, depending if you were working for one of our dealerships or at the corporate office. I'll talk a bit about the dealership path. You know, typically somebody would come in as a new graduate, start as an accounting clerk, and that's where you'd be responsible for posting a lot of the day-to-day transactions and really starting to learn about the business. And then as a person gets more comfortable, they'd advance to an assistant accounting clerk, and then a senior accounting clerk, and then finally a dealership controller. And really at that dealership controller level, you're responsible for all financial aspects of an auto dealership. So all the financial reporting to both head office and the manufacturer, overseeing the tax, HST, as well as some income tax pieces, and managing the balance sheet and income statement, and really taking a proactive role, working with the general manager, running all administrative and financial functions of a dealership. Similar to what these guys described, we would support people through a CPA path. And we have many people that have recently graduated, joined us, and achieved their CPA. In terms of skills that set you apart, I would echo the initiative piece. I think for me, that's something that I've always tried to focus on in my career. And if you can help make your supervisor's life easier, I think that's a great way to set yourself up for advancing and continuing to get new experiences and learn new skills. So that's my advice to new graduates, is to always take initiative and look how you can be either improving efficiency or taking on something new to help the team.
Yeah, mine would be a little different where it's such a small company. So our entire finance team is about 7 people. So there's not as much like at other larger companies where you can kind of move around between companies or between the different teams to move up. Here you kind of just have like the one finance team that you would move up. I came in as a senior accountant, so I've only been in my role for about like 5 months now because I had previous experience from another company. But my manager, who's the controller, he kind of worked his way up through the company starting from university. So he came in as first an accountant. So he's preparing the invoices to bill our customers. He's submitting the invoices to pay our vendors. He would prepare commissions for our salespeople, do bank reconciliations, things like that at kind of like the entry level. Then the next one would be the senior accountant, which is where I am, which is kind of overseeing the monthly financial results. I do things like post prepaid, like track and post the prepaids, um, our fixed assets, recording depreciation and additions and disposals, looking at accrued liabilities, recording those each month, taking on more of a review. So I'll like review invoices before processing them for payment, and I also review our salespeople's commission. Then next would be like the controller position, or I think he first moved into like assistant controller and then controller. So he fully oversees the financial reporting and has all our team rolling up to him. And then after that, we have a director position, senior director, and then it's the CFO. So if you were kind of moving up through the organization, that's the way it would go. And for standing out, I would say one thing I really look for is attention to detail. I feel like that's something that you can put through in a resume when I'm sifting through them. That if you like have the dates and some of them say SEP 2025 and some of them say September 2025, like that is something I might notice. Or like if your bullets don't align, that, you know, in accounting, attention to detail is so important. There's so many things that could go wrong or things that you should try to flag. So seeing when someone can really pay attention and do that review on a resume, I feel like is something I look for, and that's a way to stand out.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start with Rebecca on this one. How has technology impacted the accounting finance profession from your perspective?
Yeah, so technology obviously is in our everyday lives, but now at KPMG specifically, we have it, again, I'm going to speak from an audit perspective, but it is used widely through all of our departments. But in audit, we actually have it integrated right into our audit platform now. So it's something called KPMG Clio, and we are able to ask it direct questions on specific things we might be testing or where to find something quickly on our platforms in general, whether it's a letter that needs to be filled out and sent to the client, anything, or how to test a specific complex area of accounting. So that's very helpful and makes our audits very efficient with that tool. As well, I'm not sure how many of you use it or are aware, but Microsoft Copilot is something that has just been pushed out to our firm as well. So that's integrated right back into everything we do at KPMG. So I can ask it to prioritize my emails for things that are due on certain dates based on what's in the email. Lots of different prompts like that. That's just an example. That's something we use. Even our clients are really expecting a lot out of us with regards to technology because everybody's using it now. So we're trying to stay as up to date on that as possible. Our clients are lately we've gotten really great feedback on all the tools that we use. We also use it as we have AI built into our client document sharing platform as well. So that's something that they really enjoy, but I see it as a very important tool to kind of stay ahead of the competition, where everybody is kind of looking to see how they can get their audits done as efficient as possible for the lowest cost with the greatest value. So yeah, it's definitely a very, very important tool, and it's great to have some skill sets in using technology, of course, but it's not necessarily a full requirement. We're not going to test you on it or anything if we were to hire you.
A couple, I guess, tangible examples that I'll share would be the use of things like Teams, SharePoint, document storage within our accounting system. Those types of things have all allowed us to have remote work a little easier and more possible, and that's allowed us to put people in place no matter where they are, as long as they're the best skilled for a role. So, for example, we might have a controller that oversees a Mazda store in Newfoundland who also takes on the role of being the controller for a Mazda store in another province, because that's the most efficient, that they can share their knowledge with the different same brand stores. So that's one thing that the technology has assisted with. Another item would be optical character recognition, and AI learning has allowed us to use scanning and to put electronic documents into the system, and it processes those right away, and then there would be a human reviewer. So it's allowed us to sort of elevate people from being a data inputter to a reviewer and analyzer. So just kind of taking them to that next level and making the whole process more efficient. There would also be, some we do use Microsoft Copilot a little bit, primarily around meeting notes, summaries, helping to refine or draft process documentation, those types of things.
Yeah, I would agree with everything said so far in terms of technology changing the profession. Just having a lot of accounting systems and softwares in place that can do a lot of the accounting, and you're more taking on the review side. I would also say where it's kind of going in the future is I see AI already being brought in a lot. I know they both mentioned it. My organization is like very fond of using AI and trying to find different ways to be more efficient. So I've been trying to like explore with Chat GPT, things like when I do a sales tax reconciliation, we have two different systems and I have to compare all the transactions, and there's sometimes differences. So instead of manually taking the data from each system and sorting it and trying to compare to figure out where the differences are coming from, I can just spend a little extra time to create a prompt and templates to upload the information and have that comparison done. Obviously, making sure not to upload any sensitive information. So that's definitely where I can see it changing in the future, as long as that's something that your organization is okay with. Like I know Microsoft Copilot was mentioned. A lot of organizations are more comfortable with that. So obviously making sure that your organization is okay with you using AI to do your work before you use it. But I do see that definitely being where technology is going in the future.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone just said, but like so for someone like me who was an international student and English is not my first language, applications like ChatGPT and Copilot help me better articulate my letters that I'm drafting for the clients, so I can spend more time in crunching up the right numbers for them instead of wasting time in seeing if I have the correct English in there or not. Another thing that really helps me out is our incredibly well-designed tax softwares for the Canadian clients and the US clients. It really helps you save time in filling separate worksheets. You can just search. You can use the search button to search the exact worksheet or schedule that you need. And it really saves you a lot of time and effort in making the most efficient work.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. The next one I'm going to ask is, and this is something that a lot of people will want the answer to, is how does your organization support a better, healthy work-life balance? I can start with you.
All right, we'd have a number of initiatives that would help to support a strong work-life balance. We have a flexible benefits package, corporate discounts at gym memberships. We have 4 personal days that our staff are able to take each year in addition to their vacation time to to support them and things that come up in their personal lives. overall, I think there's quite a bit of flexibility. Obviously, there's certain roles that people need to be there doing, but especially on the accounting and finance team where remote work is very achievable. Typically there's opportunities to stagger work hours if people want. For example, there's a couple people on my team at head office who start work at 7 and then end their day earlier. There's also many people on my team that choose to work from home 1 day a week, and that's all supported. And for me, it's just all about communication, making sure that everybody on the team understands, what people have going on in their personal lives, and then we can all, chip in, make sure there's appropriate coverage in the areas that are needed, and yeah, it's just kind of that two-way communication to me is most important.
Yeah, I would say my company is similar. We have a quarterly wellness benefit, so you can submit different expenses for reimbursement. And you can even do things like concert tickets, plane tickets, like hotels, anything that kind of supports your wellness from a holistic viewpoint, they'll let you do, which is really nice. We also have 4 personal days and the 3 weeks vacation, and then we do like a Christmas shutdown or holiday shutdown between like New Year's and the Christmas holiday. They will shut down the company, so everyone's off during that time. And then they also do encourage, or depending on your position, also they do remote work. So my team, where we're more finance, we can be more flexible. I just got back from Ottawa yesterday, so I was working from my hometown for the past week, which was really nice. And that's like a huge perk for me, like to support my wellness, that I can go home and see my family and not have to use vacation. So I think that's a huge pro, is them just being flexible in that way. And then also if you need to have an appointment during the day or like leave work for something like this, then that's okay and allowed, and I can just make the time up later. And having that trust from my team that they know I'll still get my work done, even if I'm not doing a strict like 9 to 5 every day. So I would say those are the main perks for me.
Yeah, about me, I'm really fortunate to have MNP as an employer because they're extremely flexible with whatever demands I've made in the past 9 months of me like being with them. The only time we don't have work-life balance is in the tax season, March and April. You work super hard, you just stay in the office, but after that, all the hours that you've put in the overtime, you can get them as your vacation, extra vacation. Like I took like 2 weeks off every week in the summer because I had that many hours in overtime. And on top of that, we have this thing called MNP Golf Day every year. So once a year, the company rents out a golf course and you play golf the whole day. It was such a fun experience. We have summer barbecues going on during the season. That's a fun thing. And we have standard vacation time, like 3 weeks vacation, 4 personal days, one each quarter. And another thing that's really good is that they even approve if I go back to India, I can work from there as well remotely for some time. So that's a really great thing about MNP.
KPMG is quite similar to a lot of the things already mentioned, but I was just writing down as things came to my mind, so I'll kind of list off. So we also have wellness accounts as well. So we have really great benefits, health benefits. Any amounts not used can actually go to different accounts, but one that's liked by many is our lifestyle spending account, and that can be used for a wide variety of things, but it's very it can range from new clothes to AirPods to anything like that. We also have discounts, many discounts sent to us throughout the year based on usually it's clients that we work for. They send us discounts, but we're actually great beneficiaries of our Toronto clients. So one we typically get multiple times a year is a Sport Check discount. That's a really great, widely used thing as well. We have personal care hours. We actually offer 50 personal care hours per year. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be used at any certain point. You can use them whenever you like, but there are 50 of them as well as your standard vacation. So for anyone starting out, you would have 3 weeks vacation. As you move up to the manager level, you'd be given 4 weeks. And then I think it's more so at the partner level, you get 5 weeks. Holidays, shutdowns around the Christmas holiday. Our office is shut down from usually whatever kind of the calendar falls, but 23rd, 24th until after New Year's. We also offer flexible working arrangements. So I know some of my fellow panelists here have already mentioned similar things. So kind of working, like I'm a new mom, so sometimes I have to leave early to take my son to swimming lessons. So my team knows that. So if I have to leave the office at 4 rather than 5, I can do that because they know that I will still get my work done. And even that goes for people who may need to work from home. There are flexible working arrangements that allow you to do so. We also offer reduced hours as well. That's just something you can work with your performance manager on if that's something that you need to do. A couple other things, mental health benefits we offer as well. I think it's $2,000 a year, as well as paternity and maternity leave. We have really great benefits. I'm told they're pretty good compared to the standard ones that are offered, maybe in other companies. Yeah, and other than that, KPMG is clearly very supportive of your mental health and well-being, and really striving towards a better work-life balance than what would have been kind of known as in the past. Even in our audit practice, we are working towards reducing people's hours in our busy season period to no more than 50 hours a week. I know that seems very steep, but in busy season, I know some people can, like you would be able to speak to how many hours you might rack up in a week, but we're really trying to strive towards no more than 50 hours per person. That will obviously range depending on the client you're on, but yeah, that's something we're really proud of and trying to really accomplish this year.
That's great. Thanks so much. My next question, and I'm going to start back down the end again with Sarah. This is something that a lot of today's generation is focused on, and that's about social impact, right? We think about the corporate social responsibility that goes on out there in the world and sustainability and that sort of thing. So does your organization support community service work, such as volunteering for charities or supporting disadvantaged communities or groups? And if so, can you provide an example?
Yeah, so one thing that they do is they do donation matching. So once every quarter, any donations that you make to a charitable organization, they'll match it 100% for you. And then I also know on more of a team level, they will often do like days where you go and give back to the community and volunteer with different organizations. And that would be like a day off where you get to spend time with your team to give back to the community. And then also I know that we're often giving sponsorships to employees if they're involved in different extracurriculars. Like one of my team members is playing on an ultimate frisbee team for Team Canada, and they sponsored her team to give money for her to like go on the trip. So different things like that to support both the community and their employees.
So MNP is actively a part of this organization called Light the Night. It's a North American-based organization that helps people who have leukemia or blood cancer. One of the senior managers in our office is a blood cancer survivor, and he is one of the main activists. We have donation matching, as Sarah just said. Whatever the whole team can contribute, along with the regional managing partners, the firm matches that 100%. And we have a Light the Night event on October 26th, where the whole firm will be going and actively supporting people who have lost someone to blood cancer, someone who is still battling with it, or someone who has survived. It's a really eye-opening event where you see a different side of people, and it's really bonding moment. Another thing that we have is doing free T1 returns for a certain group of people. I am a little gray on that area, but that is also a thing that our firm does.
Yeah, so at KPMG, they're actually very encouraging of people taking time to go out and volunteer. We even have a program set up for people who are very passionate and very involved in volunteering that it takes up a lot of their time. There's actual awards that you can nominate people. We've had people in our Halifax office win these, and this would be like across Canada. So we do really take volunteering time seriously. Other things, we also participate in the Light the Night fundraiser as well. United Way, many different organizations like that where we're encouraged to donate as well as matching from our partners as well. We're very much encouraged to sit on boards. There are many people in our office that sit on boards, specifically for not-for-profits to kind of give back to the community in that way. We recently, KPMG Canada recently just donated $150,000 as well as volunteer hours to the Breakfast Club of Canada. So again, just kind of showing how we are very passionate about volunteering at KPMG.
Yeah, Steele Auto Group community is one of our core values. So one thing that we did recently, it was earlier this year, is we did a survey of all of our staff, so 2,700 employees, and asked them which causes are important to them. And we were looking for one large campaign to support, and we do support a number of other campaigns as well, both at the individual dealership level and at the corporate level. But this was kind of the one big initiative that we wanted all of our dealerships to be involved with, and our staff overwhelmingly said they wanted to support sick children causes. So we've partnered with the IWK in the Maritimes, Janeway in Newfoundland, and the Texas Children's Hospital. And we currently have a Driven to Give campaign where a certain amount of each of our vehicle sales is donated to those children's hospitals. And in addition to that, we encourage each location to come up with their own campaign to spread awareness and raise additional funds for these children's hospitals. So I thought that was a great initiative because it really engaged our staff to figure out what's important to them and allowed us to focus on those causes. At a personal level, more individually, I sit on the board for Vision Loss Rehab Canada, as well as on the finance committee for my church. These are things that I do out of my own time, but the company is very supportive, so that if there is a meeting in the middle of the day, I can attend that and make up the time elsewhere. Or also with the Vision Loss Rehab Canada board position specifically, it's a national position, so there's travel once or twice a year for that. And again, the company is very supportive of those causes and understands the importance of people doing things that are important to them.
Great, thanks so much. So I see that there's a lot of community support and initiatives going on in all of the places of work that are represented here today. The last question I have for you before I go to questions from the audience and the online audience is, what is one piece of practical, tangible advice that you would give to our business students entering the workforce today? Sarthak.
The most important thing I think, is making connections. So like when I first got here to Canada in 2021, I would attend learning passport events like you guys, and the panelists there would say, make connections. And I was thinking, I don't know anyone in this country. How am I supposed to make connections if I don't know anyone? And as the time passed, I met more and more people, made connections. And now I know it is very important for you guys. If you don't know anyone, I would say your professors, like the professors here at the Mount background are some of the best people I know from the industry. I landed my current job thanks to one of the reference from a professor here. So that's a really good thing you guys can do. And that would be always asking questions, as one of my peers here just said. It is very important to ask questions. Like, I ask questions all the time at my job. Some of them are incredibly silly, but it is very important to get those things clear so that you don't end up making a minor mistake further down the line that makes you work extra for the small thing.
I don't have just one piece. I have a few small pieces because I think they kind of go hand in hand, and they're very important. But yes, echoing Sarthak, it would be building relationships, connections early on. That's really going to help you down the line. It's even important at my level now, very important to continue building relationships in the industry and even in my internal network at KPMG. Also, just taking initiative of your career. I think that kind of goes hand in hand too, like setting a goal for yourself and working towards that, asking questions. You don't know until you ask, and failing doesn't mean you're a failure. I've failed many times, and it helps you learn. Remember that even more next time. You're not going to make that mistake. Asking questions, I think I already mentioned that. Communication skills are super, super important. And my last piece of advice is to always seek feedback from the people above you, even people below you. If you're in a situation like that where you would have somebody beneath you, it's really good to get it from both ways.
Yeah, I'd say my advice is very similar to what these guys have already said, and it's really to take initiative. I said it earlier in terms of the the skills that make people stand out, and I think that's the most important thing that you can do to set yourself apart is identify how you can better help the team, how you can better help your supervisor, and that can be done through effective communication, as Rebecca mentioned, and then take that on and run with that and ask questions and just show that you're hungry to learn more and to be part of the group.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all the advice that was given. Another piece of advice I would say if you're doing co-ops or in your first role is when you're getting trained, I would say to always have like a notebook and try to take notes. I feel like that has helped me so much in completing my tasks. Or now if I'm training someone and they don't have notes and I'm training them for an hour, it's sometimes worrisome. It's like there's so much information to remember. So I feel like that is something I would try to always keep with you. Now with remote work too, or like meetings, you can record them sometimes. So if that works better for you, you could try to record the meeting so you can look back on it, but just having a way to remember the task that you're doing, and then also asking as many questions. I know it's been mentioned multiple times, but while you're going through a task, asking questions, or when you're starting to complete it, you can always reach out with questions. And then also just, I would say when I look back, like advice I'd give my younger self is to not rush things too much. I feel like I was always so like stressed about finishing my degree within like a certain amount of time, and then doing the CPA program and like progressing my career. And if you graduate a semester later, like it's not going to be the end of the world. I took a year off in between finishing my degree and before I started the CPA program to kind of become adjusted to my new role. And I remember being worried that that was going to delay my career, and it really hasn't at the end of the day. And like I feel like that extra time helped me so much throughout the program. So just doing what's best for you and not always like worrying about delaying yourself. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. A couple of other tips from me are follow companies that you like on LinkedIn. that you align yourself with, like their community service or their social impact. When you follow them on LinkedIn or other socials, that may benefit you to see when they have events and a potential opportunity to go and network with people at that company, and then it could land you a job. I know many students from here that have gotten their jobs through LinkedIn, as in like they're headhunted through LinkedIn. So we had a student that was at a firm, got headhunted by Heritage Gas, which is now Eastward Energy, I believe, but headhunted right through there, just an email. You know, I mean, I had the RBC Center, Innovation Center, when it opened, email me to see if I had students that could come work there. So just random, they see I'm a professor, they reach out to me. You never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. Follow the if you're planning on becoming a CPA, follow CPA Atlantic School of Business. They hold events for students, and there will be one coming up in November. So just follow that, because there's opportunity for you there to even meet further people outside and do your learning passport events, especially where you get to engage with people, and other university events that are hosted. There's lots of opportunity out there that'll get you integrated with a whole lot of different people. So now I'd like to open it up to questions, online and in person. So online, you can put them in the chat window. In person, raise your hand. Miriam has a mic.
Hello, my name is Simon. And first of all, I'd want to say thank you for making time to talk to us. It's very, very, very impactful. My first question is, with someone who has an experience in financial advising from the banking sector, switching to accounting, but over the period has been off the hook. I mean, if I say off the hook, not in anything relating to accounting, but school. And in the field of work is also completely different currently. What is your best advice to such a person? Anyone can pick it up.
I just want to clarify your question. Are you saying the person is currently working in a financial advising role and you're wondering what the transition might look like to move to an accounting firm?
Not directly. So this person has an experience in financial advising for like 8 years, but currently not working in that field, but currently doing something like driving a work, a dozer, driving huge machines, but studying accounting to do a CPA. What is your advice to such a person?
I think kind of echoing what we've said is kind of making connections through LinkedIn to get kind of your name out there, as well as applying to the various applications that are out there as well. It doesn't like just because you worked in a financial advising role and now you're like, maybe not you, but a person is working in something that's completely unrelated, let's say, to accounting or financial advising, it does not mean that there's not a job out there for you. Like when we hire our first year staff and co-ops, like we don't expect them to have any experience at all. And so that's kind of where you would start coming into a firm typically is if you don't have kind of the prior experience working in an accounting firm, you would start kind of at that base junior staff accountant level anyways. So we wouldn't really expect that you would have any experience at all. You're going to be coached through the things that you need to know, and that's kind of going to be how you progress your career. Does that kind of answer your question? Awesome.
Great. I have a question from online. As a student looking to get into the industry before getting my degree, what am I qualified for while still in school, apart from summer jobs, co-ops?
I would say you don't really need any prior experience before joining the workforce. Like as Rebecca just said, you are not expected to have any experience. A lot of my peers who just joined have done co-ops, but I was not a part of the co-op program while here at the Mount. I did have some practical experience, fortunately, thanks to the community volunteer income tax program. That's a separate thing. But um, just focus on your academic foundation. Make sure that you have the basic knowledge of accounting, how the most basic things work, like a journal or just the basic financial statements. Nothing in too detail because you're not expected to know anything. Because I believe that having good grades and having a good standing in your class does help you out go through the pre-screening process at least.
Can I just add a little bit to that in terms of if you're trying to make yourself stand out on your resume or in an interview process, especially for those entry-level jobs where experience isn't necessarily required or expected, a couple things that you can do is show how you're very passionate or engaged in the industry. So whether that's an accounting firm, talk about your future career path. I know for us, we've hired people who really stood out in an interview because they had the basic experience and skills that were required, and they had a real passion for the automotive industry and showed that they wanted to be a part of it. So that stands out to us. The other piece would be showing that cultural fit and how your personality fits with what you believe is important to the company. So things like following the organization on LinkedIn, understanding what's important to the company and demonstrating that you would be a good fit. I think those are the other pieces that can help you stand out and help you achieve those entry level positions.
I might just add as well, also just kind of general advice. I feel like this goes with like this question and the last question. When you're applying for jobs, it's like if you can take the job description, go through it, see like what are the skills that they're looking for, and then look at your experience and try to demonstrate how do you have those skills with your experience, even if it's not directly related. Do you have experience prioritizing tasks, taking initiative, having attention to detail, strong communication skills? Like these are things that you can get at jobs that aren't necessarily accounting related. So like really taking the time to go through and like demonstrate how you can have those skills through your resume and putting in that time and effort, like you were saying, to like show that you like the culture and like what your future career is, because we can tell when someone's putting effort into their resume, and that will help you stand out a lot when you're applying.
It just came to my mind. There is this thing that the Mount does. It's called Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. I just mentioned about it. Came to my mind. It's an incredible way where you can volunteer and get some tax experience for those of you who are trying to work in tax. Professor Norman Gedron, he's the main person you should reach out to, or you can reach out to me. I'm a tax mentor with the program. I'm still with them. I've been working with that for the past 3 years. You help individuals file their T1 tax returns free of cost. It's volunteer. It's a good experience that you can put up on your resume, and it's a really, really beneficial thing that helped me out.
That was my questions, to be honest. We heard about you from our professor Norman, and my name is Mafuza, so I have volunteered last year as well to do some taxes for people. I did like over 30 individual taxes, but my question for you is like right now, a lot of my colleagues are in advanced taxation, and we are kind of like we are pulling our hair. It's a lot of details. So my question for you is like you did mention about elections. You do work with elections that the corporate has to do. So how difficult is it like in real life, other like compared to the way we learn in our class?
As I said, the foundation is the same. It's just that the practicality is a bit different. I don't want to bore you guys with the extreme details, but you don't have to worry about that much, because elections is something that you learn as you go. You cannot be taught that in school, because elections are subjective to every client, and there are so many different kinds of elections out there that um, it's not going to be helpful for you to learn in school. That's what I believe in. Like, I'm still working on a bunch of elections right now at my work, and it is a little confusing at times, but you learn as you go. That's what I'm going to tell you about that.
Great. I have another question from online. My non-for-profit recently transitioned to Xero for accounting software. However, we've experienced difficulties finding compatible receivable software. Curious to know what software is being used in the industry. So what you've seen, maybe?
So we also use Xero at my company, but we use Maxio which is I don't like it would depend what industry you're working in, but Maxio is good for SaaS, which is software as a service companies. So companies pay a subscription to use our software. So Maxio is set up specifically for that type of receivable and revenue. So maybe looking and seeing if you can find a receivable accounting software that would work in your industry that can integrate with Xero would be my advice for that.
That was very direct. You used Xero, so it was a good question to ask of this panel for sure. Did you have another question before I go to mine? Okay, I have another one. Any advice for mature students who are changing fields and how they can stand out? So changing fields. So say you worked full time as I don't know, construction worker, and then you decided to become an accountant. Or you were a welder and decided to become an accountant. How do you stand out? Because you're totally changing fields. And I'm using that example because there was actually someone that went through the CPA program that did exactly that, welder to CPA.
I'll start, and then maybe if you guys want to add anything. But again, you don't need prior experiences when you're starting kind of at the base level at our firm. Kind of something like Rhonda mentioned, follow the different companies that you align with on LinkedIn, as well as the CPA school business, if that's something that you're going to pursue. And then attend those events, those in-person events. We sometimes host them throughout the year at KPMG. CPA has their panel as well, and making connections through there and making connections with those people. Typically, those are your hiring people are going to be involved in those events that are held in person typically. That would be a start, I would say, for sure.
I can add, I mean, a lot of what we've already talked about for new people entering the workforce would be applicable. As Rebecca mentioned, there's not a lot of experience that's required for the entry level positions, but I would just say really identify what skills are important for the role that you're applying for, and try to demonstrate how your past work experience helped you to get some of those skills, to demonstrate some of that experience, so that you can create some linkage, even if it's a different field. Chances are that things like team involvement, leading people, attention to detail, like depending on the past role, a lot of those attributes you might be able to demonstrate your experience with those things. So that's what I would do.
And those all boil down to those enabling competencies, folks. For those of you that are in audit with me this year, at least, and 4426, I don't think there's anyone here from here, but those things are listed in your course outline. Those soft skills are what people are looking for. And you can totally take things that you do in your day-to-day life now and transpose those into attributes they're looking for. So for instance, if you're a key holder at a retail store, you're showing a leadership skill. You're showing that you're bondable, you're trustable, all those things, right? So that's something. And the reason they don't want a lot of experience, I think, is because they want to mold you. I think I would be correct in saying that, wouldn't I? They want to mold you and not pick up your bad habits. like some of us older people might have working in the industry.
Great. Excellent presentation by all. My question is, I mean, an excellent panel, varying degrees of your career. But my question to you is, what is a course that you would like to see university teach their students if they're coming to your workplace? Or in the case of Sarthak, what is the course that you wish you had taken, or the topics that were included in the current university's curriculum?
I've never really thought about it, but like looking back at it now, I think I'm really satisfied with what we've been taught. Like what I did with you, like in data analytics, it teaches you how to make some dynamic databases and stuff. Was a really nice course that the university added while I was here. Another one that we did was management information systems. It was with Mortaz. I don't think he's with the Mount anymore, but he revamped the outline. That was a really interesting thing that he did. So what we did in data analytics, he built on top of that with like extremely dynamic databases, like your Excel, PowerPoint, and everything will change at the same time. Was really fun. Um, Other than that, I don't think there is anything much that the Mount can add that I can think of right now. That might be something I might think in the later on, but on the spot, nothing comes to my mind.
One thing I would say is maybe a course that is more for personal, like basic personal finance for people. Because one thing, like I've heard people say, it's like you can graduate with an accounting degree, but still not know how to do a basic tax return. Because like we learn like the more advanced taxes in the course, but then it's not necessarily always practical to how to do like your own tax return. So having that both for business students and even non-business students, that they could take it as a university course, or having like the volunteer program, because that was offered as a swap out for an assignment in my tax course, and I didn't do it. And I wish that I did it, because I feel like so many people like ask you tax questions when you graduate, and just like for my own tax knowledge, I feel like that would have been really helpful to do. So maybe making that like part of a course more mandatory, but then also just like things like saving, compounding interest, like things like that that are maybe not super advanced finance things, but they're not taught like as part of like the core university curriculum. And then also this already is a course at the Mount, but for anyone who's not in accounting and you aren't required to take it, like I would strongly recommend the Excel course. That course is probably like one of the courses that I look back on that was the most helpful in my job, because it taught me so much about like how to do advanced formulas, what's possible with Excel. Even if I don't remember exactly how to do it, I can just Google how to do it, and then like as long as I know it's possible, it's not too hard to do. So strongly recommend that course for anyone who isn't required to take it as part of their degree.
Hello, thank you so much, first of all, for answering our questions. My name is Reet. My question comes from my experience working in a large corporate firm in Canada, and also my experience with the government. We are really taught to use SAP financial software for everyday financial processing, inventory. What advice would you give to the students relating to that?
You mean SAP for like your accounting software?
For basically everything. Like we were really stressed to know the importance of SAP and get comfortable with it. Is there any advice you could give to any students who don't know what SAP is or who are trying to get comfortable with it?
I would say to like, is this in a job or just learning about it in your course?
In a job.
Okay, because I feel like having your supervisor that you can ask questions to would like being able to rely on them. And then also if there's any training that's offered like through the SAP. I know a lot of softwares, they provide their own training to get comfortable with the platform. So I would rely on that. And, when you're in the role, you should have support from your supervisor or from other coworkers that can help you learn the software. Like, you shouldn't just be thrown into it. So hopefully in the situation that you're in, there is someone that you can reach out to and get that help to walk you through how to do the different processes, and then it will come with time. I feel like it can be really overwhelming to learn software at first, but then after a couple months, like you're in it every day, you're doing it, then you usually can get the hang of the how to do the tasks that are your responsibility.
Thank you so much.
Just a sec. You need a mic.
Yeah, so I'd just like to add, because I worked with SAP. So SAP and Oracle is our enterprise management systems. And they're really used by really, really large companies. So I'll tell you, for example, when I worked in Guyana, I ran a company, it was $75 million a year, and that was too small for SAP. Right. And the thing about SAP, it's not like Xero or Sage or, that if you have an idea of an accounting system that you can look at the menus, there are so many transactions that are buried there that if you don't know the numbers, you wouldn't even know they exist. So it's really not intuitive. And maybe that's the way, probably their way of establishing their competitive advantage. So I would say you really need a mentor, someone to really hold your hand and say, well, these are the transactions that are important for this particular setting. So you need to find that person. Good luck.
And companies will support you in that stuff. When I worked for Imperial Oil, we used Impact Accounting and we switched to SAP for everything, both the accounting, the customer relationship piece, and the whole thing. And I was leaving at the time, but then I came back to be an agent and my whole staff had to use it. And they brought someone in from the Moncton office for 5 weeks to train all of us on how to use the customer relationship side. We didn't even use the accounting side. And it took 5 weeks to get us up to speed on being able to read how the system generates the degree days to know when people need oil and how to manage the credit piece in the customer's file and all of that stuff. So it is a challenge. I have one online that's been there for a bit. Which deliverables, work papers, models, memos most often need fixing from juniors, and what does right the first time look like? I'm throwing that to you, Rebecca, because you're a senior manager at a firm.
Well, there's nothing bad with getting review notes, is what we call them, which are just kind of please fix type things. I would say memos typically aren't necessarily done at a junior level. What were just like work papers?
Work papers, models, and memos. I'm not sure what models is. Maybe you know that term. Yeah. We'll just stick with work papers.
Yeah, work
memos.
Papers.
Working papers, I'm guessing that means.
I would say it's actually quite uncommon to complete a section without getting a review note, and that doesn't mean that you're not perfect or you're completely off the rails, don't know what you're doing. It's just really learning points, and we're just trying to guide you to, on your next client file that you work on, try and not get review notes, but we're not there to really bring you down and to do that on purpose. We're really only leaving review notes when it's a learning point that you can learn and benefit from to help make our audit files as high quality as possible. So I would say, yeah, like I wouldn't say there's really typically ones that I would see several review notes on. It's kind of, you may get review notes, you may not, but it's not a bad thing at all. It does not mean your performance is lower than others. It's actually a good thing for your learning development. Now, when you keep making the same mistakes on client files, working papers in the same sections over and over again, then that's kind of when we're kind of questioning maybe that you're not understanding the point of what the review note is and the learning process. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. We're not there to make more work for you. It's more to make you a better worker.
She had one question. I'm going to let her take the last question. because she did have her hand up at the same time this one came in, if that's okay. Talk. Speak into it.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Teslie, and I have a question. Is so there's a lot of field in accounting and finance, such as like tax or like audit, assurance, or like consultant. And I feel like how could we know which part is like fit for us? Because like I don't know, I just feel like it's very overwhelming, and we don't know which part is like I don't know, like interesting in it, like that.
I can. I was just gonna say, I think it depends on what you're passionate about and what interests you, and I think that there's different paths. So, for example, if you are really passionate about tax and you think that that's where you see yourself spending your career, and you want to spend your whole career there, then that's a great path. For me personally, I've moved around into the different aspects. So I've spent time focused on, I worked in audit for 5 years. I was a corporate controller, so management, accounting, internal controls and processes. I've spent time as a director of financial reporting and tax. So I've seen kind of all different aspects of the finance function, and I think that's really important for my role now as a CFO, because I've got that wide breadth. So it helps me understand all aspects of the business. So for me, I enjoyed moving around and trying different things, but it really depends on where you see yourself long term and what interests you the most.
And just to add up what Kyle just said, you won't know unless you try it. So that's where the co-op terms sit at the bound can really help you out. I know people who went to an accounting job in their first co-op term, then went to a marketing job, then came back to accounting because that's what they liked. Like at our firm, we had a co-op student who did tax in her first co-op term, then did assurance in the second one, and now she has joined full time as an assurance accountant. So that's something you would like once you do it.
I'll also just add, I feel like just being open when you're looking for your first job too, because a lot of where you might end up going will just depend on what's available at the time. So you can try different things, like he said, like I did a co-op at a firm, and then I did a co-op at Amera in financial reporting, and I liked that, so I got my first job in financial reporting. Then I want to try out internal audit, so I moved over, like a position opened up, so I was like, oh, it sounds interesting, moved over. It was okay. I did that for a couple of years, and then I decided I want to try something else. And then another job in financial reporting opened up. I moved back to that, and I'm like, now I know, like, okay, this is actually where I want to be right now. I find that really interesting. So I feel like just being open, like I hadn't decided exactly what I was going to do when I was looking for jobs. Like I was kind of just seeing what's available and applying, and then part of it is what you want to do, but part of it might also just be like what the job that you're able to get at the time. So I wouldn't put too much pressure on knowing like exactly what stream you're going to go down, because it could close you off from other opportunities that are available when you're applying too.
I'm going to also quickly add something. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but usually if you're taking the audit or tax route, you would typically do your CPA process. At least that's with at our firm, typically what we like to see people do. Advisory roles, consulting you can do your CPA and they will support you, but you don't technically need it. But there are many people that I know that would have started in the audit practice at KPMG and have now since moved over to tax, have moved into advisory in different roles, have done secondments in Australia, in Toronto. So really the sky's the limit on what you can do once you kind of get your foot in the door. And like, I didn't necessarily know too much about auditing other than my audit course I would have taken. But even that doesn't really, it gives you the basics, but to actually work on a physical client file is a lot different, and that you don't really get until you know. So you kind of have to test something out. I feel like that's kind of the path I took.
Great. Thank you so much. I want to thank our panelists for coming today, Kyle, Rebecca, Sarthak, and Sarah. I want you to give them a big round of applause for all the knowledge they've imparted on you today, the words of wisdom that they've given you. Thank you so much.